Well, welcome to the last ever RACE46 episode. 4 seasons strong, it's a good way to go out.
You want to save it, like, comment, subscribe, and tell us how much you like it, and you can keep us on track.
Behind us we have our RACE46, nearly spec E46 compliant. We've got to change some tires and some suspension, but then she'd be good to go. And we are doing our final 4-hour endurance race at the National Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So we've got 2 cars, 2 drivers, and I rather like the program. I hope you do like, comment, and subscribe. Check out some of the previous episodes because we show you pretty much the cheapest way to get on track possible. Mark 7 GTI, super obtainable car. E46 BMW, super obtainable car. You guys can do this at home. We hope you do. But for our event, we did a lot of work after Pitt Race. We started with a new clutch and flywheel.
Well, we started with the actual problem of Pitt Race, which is why we were getting fuel cut, and our fuel regulator inside our fuel filter went bad, so we had to replace that just to be able to move the car.
It feels like we lost a fuel pump. Just died going in like a straight line.
And then, yeah, we went in and got a new clutch, flywheel, and a DSSR shifter. So we got a nice little short shift now.
If I was to do this again at home and I could go back and tell myself what I should do differently, I would start with the oil pump nut because then you're stress-free. Motors are, I mean, knock on wood, pretty bulletproof, except for that oil pump nut. It backs out, it's ultra common. It's a miracle it didn't blow on ours because it's a super high mileage motor. They happen on 40,000 mile motors or 240,000 mile motors. You have to do that wire on the oil pump nut. And we put that job off for so long because we thought it was going to be terrible. It wasn't one of the easier jobs on the car, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, aside from dropping, you drop the whole oil pan and stuff, but aside from that, then you just change a nut and put it back together. On top of that, we also have replaced the ECU to be spec 46 compliant. We've tinkered with the ABS. We did replace the ABS module, but cannot get it to communicate with the BMW software to code it.
Yes, if you're out there and you've got some experience coding ABS, I certainly don't, Jay doesn't. Pretty familiar on VAG stuff, but not BMW stuff. So we've got new ABS computer, all new ABS sensors, new ABS steering angle sensor. We can't seem to make them talk together, and that's about the only thing keeping this car from being truly fast on track. So if you have some tips, please drop them in the comments. We genuinely need them.
Well, we almost forgot. We did do some other stuff with it after Pitt. We replaced our radiator with a CSF radiator.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Which then, trying to shake it down, we went to the Goodyear Proving Grounds with some other of our vehicles and did a little bit of autocross there to make sure this was good, and it wasn't. And that required us to get a new expansion coolant tank.
All right, so we chinked the bottom corner of our coolant reservoir when we added the thicker CSF radiator. So we're gonna add in the Turner Motorsport aluminum radiator reservoir. It's a couple mil skinnier, so that should give us better clearance on the pulleys. If you look down in here, our coolant reservoir has a nice, I don't know, half-inch gap now. The new fully aluminum one from Turner pulls that forward. I call it almost a must. If you're gonna go this deep to service the car, you're changing everything else. They're prone failure items. I know ours exploded because it was rubbing, but these explode all the time. So the aluminum tank presents a really good opportunity. And then this is where we were rubbing. As you can see, I threw some JB weld on there to try and get me back to work. But I was just rubbing on the pulley because it was a little too close after a thicker core. Aftermarket tank, seems like problem solved.
So I ended up with a case of the vid, COVID, and missed the NASA Mid-Ohio event. So we were lucky enough to get in with auto interest at Mid-Ohio a few weeks later to really shake this car down to make sure it was safe and ready for a long endurance at NCM.
We are here at Mid-Ohio with both our RACE46 and our soon-to-be Mark V upgrader unload car. We're partnering with Auto Interest to shake down both of these cars.
We did is incredible. With our new clutch, I'm able to push it. I'm usually shifting now at about 6,500 RPM, whereas before we were keeping it strictly at 6. And even just that 500 extra RPM is making a huge difference. I've done 3 sessions so far. On each of the sessions, I've exceeded 120 miles per hour, which previously, with our track data, Mid-Ohio, we were pushing 115 max. So that extra 500 RPM has given me more speed. Each session I've improved with my lap times, my variances, things like that. Now we're doing some drills here with Auto Interest to keep people educated and make sure they're safe on track, so that slows some of it down. But overall, it's a good group. We're having a lot of fun. The car's holding up really well. The clutch and the DSSR short shifter are amazing. Everything's holding together. Our new radiator's keeping it cool. Our new coolant reservoir isn't rubbing against the pulley and leaking anymore. Everything we've done to the car seems to be working as it should, and the car's probably better than it's been since we've been taking it on track.
And we came back, signed off with flying colors.
Absolutely, and it drove wonderfully. I was putting down 154s, 155s at Mid-Ohio, which is not the fastest times, but surely respectable times.
Yeah, and for a car on street tires without ABS, that's quite nice. So we feel pretty good going into NCM. We had as much shakedown as we could have. Now we're bringing a spare fuel filter, a couple spare coil packs, just so we have a handful of spares ready to go. But I think we're pretty much ready to go race. Let's bring it home in this condition.
Another aspect of race prep that people don't often think about is your tow vehicle. How are you gonna get the car down to the track? I use my F-150, but recently the rear brake started grinding and my oil light came on right before we gotta go to the race. So I'm doing that service now, and I'm gonna be using our Liquid Moly AA, which is our Asian America blend. And this is great for Fords, Nissans, all that jazz. So not just for your Euro.
Oil changed.
So we get down there, we did the roughly 8-hour tow down to Bowling Green, Kentucky. I was able to get a couple sessions in before the actual race.
Yeah, we actually got to practice.
And then,
which was critical for you because NCM is a ton of turns, 23, 24.
A lot of turns. I'd never driven it before. I had spent one of the sessions following Brian Parrish, going through the turns and trying to still figure out how to properly drive the track.
Set them all up.
Then it was race time at 1:30 for our 4-hour endurance. And I want to give a huge shout out to Andrew Janicek and Brian Parrish with Brian Parrish Racing for assisting us as our pit crew. Because with you and me being the only 2 drivers, we basically spent our time switching in and out of the seat while they helped keep us fueled.
Which is the worst job too. So like having to fuel kind of sucks because it's hot, you're sweaty, and your helmet's down, and you're fueling it up, and it's a rough one. So thank you guys, because without that, we'd had a 10-minute pit stop. We'd have lost. But also, speaking of lap times, yours kept coming down, which is exactly the way you want it to go. You didn't show much sign of fatigue. You were very consistent. And I think probably, if I had to guess, I'm putting words in your mouth, but from first to your second stint, it was, oh my God, what is this racetrack? And then your second stint was probably, I can attack that turn harder.
It was, and there was a lot of trying to figure things out as I was going. So I was probably in the low 250s my first session out. I did the race start, which was my first race start. So that was
how was that?
It was interesting. Luckily, we were towards the back of the pack. So I was able to figure out how to go through and do the pace laps, follow the pace car. Then we're coming up and green flag goes, and so we all go. And since I was towards really the back of the pack, we made it through the first couple of turns as a pack. and then the leaders started spreading out, and I just let a couple people pass me, and then I had the whole track to myself. And then in the second stint, or my third stint I should say, I brought it down into the low 240. So I easily found 5+ seconds between my first session and my next session to help us garner that lead.
And that's a lot of time to find, especially in a 2.5 minute lap. Finding 2-3 seconds would be good, but finding 5 means like, okay, something's clicked.
And with the 5 seconds I made up, that wasn't without error on track. There was one turn in particular towards the end of the track where I spun 3 separate times in the race.
We got a call from the radio tower, in fact, to me. So I like volunteer with NASA, so a lot of people know me. I got razzed a little bit for the consistency of which the error was occurring.
It was the same turn, happened 3 times, and he was told that I may need some coaching through that turn.
Which we did.
We did. I got some of that, and I didn't spin again. And it was really just figuring out the braking stuff, because you come up that straight, and you're going uphill, and then it crests right into a turn.
So I think this is
and you
the
can't really
16, 17, 18, 19 setup. It's a fast right-handed sweeper with a bunch of elevation change in the setup. Yeah, I would say you progressed excellently this race. I think twofold. Once, we both had double the seat time because of our team changes. And then second, I think like doing the race starts and all that was really good to show you like the full picture of everything. I think that's what makes Trek pretty cool, is that it's like 95% of wheel-to-wheel racing. I think I pretty much was I ran pretty consistent all day, middle 230 and change. I was happy with that pace.
I think your best lap was in like the 232s.
Yeah.
And that was crazy fast.
Yeah, it was fun. That car needs ABS so bad. Once more, if there are any ABS gurus out there, please email us because we need help. And this car would be competitive, I think. Truly competitive if we could just fix ABS.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Instead, we won.
We won.
Let's go! 2 laps overall. The whole thing, not just our class, by the way. We won the whole thing by 2 laps.
If you guys want to save this series, please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us how much you like it. Because again, this is the final lap.
This is the final lap.
And we'll still be doing this. You'll probably still see us on social media. But yeah, we hope you've enjoyed the ride. We hope you guys get on track and learned a lot from this. And just like, comment, subscribe, and check back for more enthusiast content.
Please.